Thank you for staying with us here on Nile Oracle. Time now to introduce you to our dear distinguished guest, Dr. Mohamed Roshdy, the financial and banking expert, who will be talking to us about the economic reverberations of the Iran war. Thank you very much, Dr. Roshdy. It's a great pleasure to have you with us, and the pleasure is maximized by the fact this is our very first episode. First time we talk economy here in the Nile Oracle with you. Dr. Roshdy, the Iran war, how has it affected the globe economically, in a nutshell, if you will, first, before we get into the details?
First of all, I would like to thank you for today's kind invitation. In addition to, I would like to congratulate all the Egyptian citizens for qualifying the national football team for the 16th round, actually. To return back to your question, actually, as you know that the globe is a small country and everything is affecting the globe, especially any war, any pandemic, everything is actually reflecting on this, actually, and it's reflected on a lot of things. One of the most important things, the stability of the Middle East, in addition to the resources, non-renewable resources cost like oil, and in addition to the FDI, especially on the Middle East, actually, in addition to the increases a little bit on the prices of commodities globally. This is the holistic picture. If we would like to take a helicopter view, as any war, as I started my discussion, highlighting that the globe is a small village, actually. Everything happened in any country reflected on the entire globe in a positive or negative way. Despite the fact, if something positive, like if there is what we are calling it, the market is active and there is economic evolution or economic reform, it's reflected. If there is a recession, it will reflect on the entire globe, not only one country. And this is what we are calling it. It's a normal practice that any war would reflect on the economy, especially the global economy. And that reflects on the cost of commodities, the gold prices, in addition to the foreign currency or FX exchange rate. And one little bit, it's little bit calm down the effect of this war. It positively reflect on the market, and if you turn it back on what we are calling it, the FDI come to the Middle East countries, and the hot money return it back a little bit gradually. You can see realize this easily, especially when you are focusing on the most stable countries in the Middle East, like Egypt. You can see one of the most important indicators, which is EGX indicator, which is positively reflected on it. In addition to the foreign direct investment to return it back, in addition to what we are calling it the hot money.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you and our audience, Egypt is totally dealing with the global circumstances, when one of the most important things that we are ready for that, and we have what we are calling it contingency plan. This is quite important. Contingency plan, to simplify to our audience, plan B. What if happened X? We will positively do 1, 2, 3, and we are prepared for any crisis. And this is one of the most important things that President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi highlighted. He is actually visionary concerning this point. You can see that the foreign currency reserve, CBE reserve, reached to one of the highest points. It exceeded, as far as I recall, more than $53 billion. In addition to, we are trying to work on what we are calling it the economic reform, and we are trying, despite the fact that we are facing a lot of challenges, you can see easily that we are trying to minimize the cost of that, that President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi highlighted. This is a global issue. A lot of things that happen, tactical things happen to little bit decrease the impact of this war till it's like little bit decreasing or calm down.
Right. And indeed, you've mentioned some very important points, Dr. Roshdy, and you've told us about how the MOU and calmness of the situation positively affected Egypt. You mentioned the gains made in the Egyptian stock market, the EGX 30, 70, and 100, and the increase in foreign direct investments, and the return of the hot money instead of the fleeing of the hot money. Also, the exchange rate of the Egyptian pound against the US dollar improved following the reaching of the MOU. So definitely there's been a positive impact following the signing of the MOU, after a negative impact had hit us during the war, the 39-day war, and then the 60-plus days of the no war, no peace situation, where oil prices, of course, rose to multi-year highs. So I wonder, how long, in your view, Dr. Roshdy, will it take to overcome the negative repercussions of the war, the Iran war? Oil had reached $120 plus. Of course, now it's down to $70 per barrel almost. Fertilizers prices were a problem. For food prices, there was inflation in many areas of the world, including our region and including our country. The supply chains were disrupted for a while when Hormuz was totally closed. So things have improved. Already there are, as you mentioned, indicators that are positive following the signing of the MOU, but things have not returned to normal. And for things to return to normal, it takes time. So in your personal view, how long will it take for normalcy to reign in once again?
As you know, and our audience, metaphorically, I would like to just for what the impact of any war, like it looks like a snowball. It's gradually has a great impact and it a little bit decrease. In my humble opinion, one of the most important things that signing MOU, the MOU that positively impact the economic and the global economy actually in a great way. But I believe that one of the most crucial things that for any country in the world, that the only constant is a change, to have what we are calling Plan B, or the contingency plan, to be ready for everything that could be happened. Like it looks like game, what if happened, I have to be prepared for it. Like we are talking it in another thing, what we are calling it TOS or TWAS analysis. If we have threats, how to get from those threats opportunities, and how to make our weakness point as a strength point. In my humble opinion, this is one of the most crucial things. Like one of the most threats that globally we faced, the pandemic. We got
COVID-19.
Thank you. We actually got a great opportunity, like digital transformation, digital online, financial inclusion, a lot of opportunities. And this crucial things, in this crucial situations, we have to be prepared. Like what happened, we have to strengthen our supply chain. Mainly in our GDP structure, we have to focus that we have a lot of resources, not focusing on one resources. Like we are calling it in finance or investments, you have, when you are investing or doing anything, you have ABC investment, you have to diversify your portfolio. In another word or other side, actually, you can say don't put all your eggs in one basket. accordingly, we have to focus on having a lot of resources to grow our GDP inside our GDP structure, actually, to have tourism, agriculture, industrial, technology, services, a lot of things, and focusing on one of the most important things which has the highest added value. Nowadays, you can say that one of the most important things on our GDP structure is the service part. Why is the service part? By the way, the service part, to elaborate more for our audience, actually, it's include the technology part, actually, the application, a lot of softwares. If you are focusing on this, has the highest added value. By this way, we can diversify our portfolio. To turn back to your questions, actually, how long it will take to
recover?
Back? Actually, the recovery, it depends on a lot of things. One of the most important things is the stability of the political. Yes, in my humble opinion, if it be stable for this by end of this quarter, actually, we will return back soon. And you can realize this easily in terms of the oil prices, as you mentioned previously, and in terms of the gold prices and the other commodities.
Actually, gold took a big hit.
Yes.
When oil was rising, I mean, gold was falling all the way.
Yeah.
It fell briefly, Dr. Roshdy, I think, below the $4,000 barrier in the global markets before rebounding back again.
So what we can realize to conclude things, or our abstract from the point that you highlighted, the rebound or the recovery, in my humble opinion, it will, by the end of this quarter, we will recover the soonest, but with dependency to have stability on the political side.
Right. So the global economy, and including the regional economy and including Egypt, will recover as long as you mentioned, this is very important, the situation remains calm. I mean, the MOU holds. Yeah, the comprehensive deal is reached, or at least is in grasp. Not if the war is reignited again, because everybody has paid a price already. And you've mentioned a very important...
And the price is quite expensive, by the way.
Yeah, for everybody.
Yes.
Yeah, and we saw how gasoline prices in the United States rose, and how Europe was suffering, how Asia was suffering, Africa, of course, naturally.
All countries, actually, as you know, that the resources in general is quite limited, and we have to best utilize our resources. Don't waste our resources on fights or wars or something that will not benefit or not return back on the community.
Too much money has been spent on wars, really, and
unfortunately,
on the war machine. You've mentioned so many important points. Let me go back to the supply chain thing that you focused on. When Hormuz was closed, not only the oil was the world deprived of 20% of the oil, gas, and so on, but also the fertilizers. Some 25% of fertilizers, of the world's fertilizers, which comes out of this region, and this, of course, affected food prices. So what happened in the Iran war showed us how important these straits are, these canals are, these routes are. And I guess this would remind everybody of how important the Suez Canal is. So how can Egypt, you mentioned also the thing about the opportunities. Whenever, you know, there's always an opportunity, even in the midst of the darkest of times.
Sure.
So concerning the importance of the Suez Canal, which has been highlighted time and again, and surely the Iran war even you know, puts even more spot on this. What would you like to say about the potential opportunities that could come from the end of this war for Egypt, for the Suez Canal?
Actually, you hit a nerve. Actually, question is quite perfect. You hit a nerve in terms of that you are comparing the two canals. In my humble opinion, one of the most important things, actually, and the key for this success to reposition our canal Suez in a different way, the key is that the stability, the political stability that President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi did it in an amazing way in terms of political stability, economical stability, those things in addition to what we are calling it building the new republic in terms of the infrastructure, investing in one of the most important assets, in my humble opinion, the human beings.
Absolutely.
He allocated a great budget for the education part and the health part. I believe that if you would like to build any country, it comes to top of my mind, you have to reallocate the budget in terms of the education part and the
health
or the medical part.
Yes.
And the President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi gave the instruction for the entire ministers to work on what we are calling it harmony. You can see for the first time there's I believe not just they are homogeneous, they are working in a harmony. You can see Ministry of Finance working closely with Ministry of Education, Ministry of Health actually, in addition to Ministry of Foreign Affairs that is doing a great job in terms of making a great deeds and working closely with all sectors to bring more FDI.
Right,
to
economic diplomacy. Yeah.
Yes, and this is the magic stick, the economic diplomacy to get more funds to our country and reposition our country in a different way, and this possibly reflected on the FDI. And during the crisis, you can see easily that the percentage of hot money that was drawn from our country, not that much as our peers or our sister companies, as our sister countries actually. You can see this easily due to a lot of factors. One of the most important things, the political stability, the economic reform that we did it in a great way. Our economy is elastic, that impacted by changes and respond with the contingency plan in a great way, and this is positively reflect on our
You're touching again on a key point. I mean, Dr. Roshdy, so you're telling us that also the Iran war has highlighted the importance of political stability to drawing investments and to economic stability, because a country like Egypt, which enjoys political stability, always has the better chances of getting the opportunities from the darkest of times or the most difficult of times. Again, this war has highlighted this. I mean, you've touched on a very important point.
Actually, this war, I believe that if it continued and the MOU is not signed, this will negatively impact a lot of things. And every country is trying to bear, and we couldn't know each country will be to which extent actually. Despite the fact, one of the most important things in my humble opinion that I would like to highlight, that we have in Egypt here actually a great and clear, crystal clear vision and the plan in terms of the economic reforms. Despite the fact there was the war and there is inflation, on the inflation, the increase in the prices, commodities prices, as you mentioned previously, the oil prices, and this is reflected, as you know, the impact of snowball actually, that the increases on the prices of oil reflect on all commodities and everything. You can see this. There's a correlation between the increase in prices and the inflation. There's correlation between inflation, which reflect on the inflation, and
the increase in energy prices. Right. Yeah.
I would like to take it from other aspects. The correlation between the inflation, which will be happened or happened due to one of the most crucial things that increases in commodities, and the interest rate.
Right.
And the interest rate negatively impact the cost of that of any country. As you know that the country...
Yeah, we were on a downward cycle for the interest rates. I mean, we were decreasing the interest rates to spur the economic activity, but we had to hold it or even increase it. I think we held it, right? We didn't increase it.
Yes.
We just held steady.
As far as I recall, starting the MPC Monetary Policy Committee till the last one that held on June actually, we are
holding rates steady. Yeah, we've not increased it, but we were on a very good cycle of decreasing rates.
Yes,
and that of course increases growth and creates more jobs. And
we decrease it. We decrease it for the
a number of successive times.
Yes, number of success.
4, 5, 6. I don't remember. I mean, how many?
Actually, starting this year, we decreased it, as far as I recall, for 2 times. As far as I recall, and then after that, we keep the interest rate. We keep it the corridor rate. As far as I recall, the overnight deposit rate, it's 19.
Between 19 and 20,
19.25%, the overnight deposit rate, and the lending rate, which is 20.25%. Actually, we keep it like that. This is why I'm mentioning this. This is quite crucial. Despite the fact that increases in prices, inflation globally, we have a crystal clear vision to decrease one of the most important things, the cost of debt, and we have a great muscles that to be the economic crisis, that we keep the interest rate unchanged for 3 times, and this is possibly impact the economy.
It's 19 for deposit, 20 for lending, and 19.5 for the main operating rate. Yeah, the mid corridor. Yeah.
Yes. Accordingly, which is one of the most important things, that crystal clear appearing or showing our muscles that happened due to be the economic and the increases and the inflation. And this is what I highlighted at the first hour, at the beginning of our episode, that we have a great job in terms of the economic reform, and we have a crystal clear vision and plan, and this is
and Egypt has a diversified economy. I mean, Egypt's economy doesn't just depend on oil, doesn't just depend on real estate or on agriculture or on industry or on tourism or on technology, or it depends. I mean, it's a diversified economy.
We are bearing the fruits of the economic reform, actually, to keep the interest rate unchanged, despite the fact the Federal is working on increasing the interest rate, the Federal Reserve working on increasing the interest rate. We are keeping our interest rate. This means that we have a great economy and diversified economy, and we are being the...
And I guess the smart guess, Dr. Roshdy, and you're the banking expert, I mean, but for the next rounds, we would expect a decrease or steady rates, or a decrease, but not an increase. Now that the war is over and things have, began to normalize, so the next rounds, the next meetings of the CBE would be expected to either decrease the rates or hold them steady. Would that be a smart guess?
This is what, in my humble opinion, this is what will be happening.
Okay.
To keep the interest rate. Or decreasing it.
Okay.
No,
but it's very far-fetched now to see any increase.
As you know, and our audience, for a long time, we have what we are calling it inverted yield curve. What is the inverted yield curve? As you know, and our audience, in a nutshell, that at the 10 years or 15 years ago, if you invest for 10 years, you will get interest higher than short time. But we work it to have what we are calling it inverted yield curve. Inverted yield curve, that on short time, for 1 year, 3 years, you are getting higher interest than long term. Why the government did this thing? Because we have an optimistic overview that in a short term, everything will change, and the economic reform will get its impact or bear the fruit. We will bear the
Yeah, and
fruits of it.
all of the spending
For that reason,
on the infrastructure.
yes,
It will bear fruit.
For that reason, this is a smart thing, in my humble opinion, from the governments with coordination with my Minister of Finance, in addition to CBE governor, that why we are paying the cost of that, high cost of that for a long time, despite the fact we will have a greater change in terms of the economic reform in short term. So if we would like to finance the mega projects, get it in a short term with little bit high cost, and then you will return back this money or repayment for it.
Yeah.
This is the inverted yield curve in a nutshell.
Thank you for explaining it. Beautiful explanation. Dr. Roshdy, I think also back to the stability, the very important point about you mentioned about stability here in Egypt, and let me add safety and security, and because economically speaking, at least as far as the tourism sector is concerned, even when the Iran war was at its peak, you know, tourism was doing very well in this beautiful, safe, and secure country. And this, of course, has its economic returns. So, yeah, so back to the point of stability again, and plus safety, plus security, we should be optimistic.
To be honest with you and our audience, as an Egyptian citizen, when I'm seeing that the flow of tourists is coming from a lot of foreign currency, in addition to what we are calling it the occupation percentage at a lot of hotels actually is in a normal or increasing slightly. I'm honestly, as an Egyptian citizen, I'm extremely proud of that, because this is a great or a crystal clear message that we have what we are calling it stability. We are a stable country, and we have a visionary leadership, and we are not, we have a calculated steps. For that reason, all the nations, all the countries are trusting Egypt, and they come to us, and this positively reflect on what we are calling it our GDP structure and our trade balance in a positive way.
Stable, safe, and secure. What about, I mean, the Egyptians abroad, and also, I guess, the remittances of Egyptians abroad has helped the economy a lot. I mean, this year, the past year, I mean, it's increasing. It continues to increase. So, what can we say about those Egyptians living abroad who are slowly becoming, if I can say so, the backbone of the economy?
To be honest with you and our audience, the flow for what we are calling it NREs, non-resident Egyptian, actually, it's enhancing a little bit, but this is normal practice. They have families, and they have a lot of people that are giving the money for the living costs and everything. What happened to enter those money to the formal sector or to the economy? This is what happened after the devaluation.
The reform.
The reform.
Part of the reform.
I told you this is, we are being the fruits of the economic reform. Actually, you can see in a nutshell that there was a gap between the formal price for the foreign currency and the market price for a lot of times, actually.
Yeah. You see, I wanted to talk about Egyptians abroad anyway, because I mean, they are Egyptians, and they are. And look at them in the United States and Canada and Mexico. Look at them. Look at the Egyptians filling. Yeah, look at the Egyptians filling all the stadiums there. So it's not just about the economy. It's just that Egyptians, wherever they live, they love their country, whether they bring money home or whether they receive the national football team there. I mean, we always feel at home wherever we go, because Egyptians are everywhere.
For sure, but the one of the most important things that when you are decreasing the gap between the official price for the foreign currency and the market price, actually, you can see that all NREs, if there's minor differences, they are supporting their countries in a great way. For that reason, you can see that the remittance or the transfers from the non-resident Egyptian is increasing and supporting the economy in a great way.
Absolutely. And we will need, I guess, everybody out there in the stadium in Atlanta against Argentina. This will be in 2 days' time. It will not be easy. It will not be easy. This is Messi and Argentina, but it's possible.
The journey is not, it wasn't quite easy, the entire journey for qualified to the World Cup. But I believe in
it never is
national team that will do a great job and let us happy, and all the Egyptian and the Arab citizen will be over the moon.
All right. I will be looking forward to that, and we'll be covering that here on Nile Oracle in a couple of days' time. Again, the match is at 7 p.m. Cairo local time on Tuesday. Egypt against Messi and Argentina in the round of 16 at the 2026 World Cup. On behalf of you, ladies and gentlemen, we thank very much our dear distinguished guest with us here in the studio, Dr. Mohamed Roshdy, the financial and banking expert. It's been a great pleasure having you with us here on the very first episode of Nile Oracle.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good luck for our team next Tuesday.
Amen. Thank you. And thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for watching us. Please stay with Nile TV.